Road surface markings. Definition of road surface markings. They are paints, buttons, or other tools placed on the surface of the road, pavements, or sidewalks in order to give drivers guidance, orient, or warn them during driving on the roads. It may be used alone or complement the work of traffic devices. Markings and lines materials. Paints. Paints are mostly made of materials that extend their durability and prolong their life. These paints may be normal, thermal, or plastic-based, fixed on road surfaces. They are mostly light reflective at night. Buttons. They are pieces of ceramic with special specifications and sizes used in the separation of lanes and directions. Usually they come in two colors, white and yellow. Road reflectors. They are pieces of reflectors used in the separation of lanes and directions and determine the edge of the road and provide sufficient vision for the driver, especially during night driving. Shapes of road surface markings. Lines. They may be longitudinal, transverse, or inclined by an angle. They may also be continuous for prohibition or broken for warning. Symbols. The most important of them are the arrows, which indicate the compulsory direction of the lane that exists on the road. Such road arrows either point ahead, right, left, ahead, towards the right, or ahead towards the left. Words. Like the word stop. This word is on the road to help drivers understand and see the existing stop sign on the street. Numbers. Numbers are written on the surface of the road to indicate the speed limit on the road. Uses of road surface markings. Longitudinal markings. Continuous longitudinal lines are used for the following: separate the traffic motion, indicate areas of no overtaking, when arriving to crossroads, when narrowing or widening the road, indicate the edge of the road, yellow or white, when arriving to pedestrians' crossings, inclined, such as traffic island lines, to determine lanes, dashed longitudinal lines. They are used to guide and warn road users, to determine a lane and its width. Transverse markings. They are used to determine priority, such as stop line and vehicles or pedestrians give way line. Types of road surface markings. Traffic motion control markings. Its purpose is to inform road users of his rights and duties, and it is the basis in laws and legislations. It is divided into give way markings, prohibition markings, mandatory compulsory markings, warning markings. Its purpose is to warn road users of the existence of risks ahead that may subject them to injury. Directional informatory markings. Its purpose is to direct road users of information that may benefit them on their trips. They are lane markings, road edge markings, lane markings for intersections, handicaps parking markings, traffic regulation markings, give-way markings. These markings are placed to guide road users to the rules followed in giving way at traffic crossroads and entrances of the main roads. Stop line. When the driver sees the sign, he has to completely stop before entering to the intersection in order to give way to the other vehicles at the intersection. Give way. When the driver sees the sign, he has to reduce the speed of his vehicle before arriving at the intersection to give way to the other vehicles at the intersection. Pedestrian line. When the driver sees the sign, he has to reduce the speed of his vehicle and watch if there are pedestrians. Stop at a sufficient distance from this mark and give way to pedestrians to cross. Prohibition markings. These markings are placed on the road to guide drivers to the laws followed in prohibition cases. They are: no overtaking. It may be in the shape of continuous lines or two continuous lines, and the driver should not overtake when seeing any of these lines, because there may be something ahead and the visibility is poor. No overtaking to the right direction. A driver who drives his vehicle at the right direction should not overtake when he sees this line, because there may be something ahead on the road with poor visibility. However, the driver who drives his vehicle at the left direction is allowed to overtake. Traffic is forbidden except for buses. This mark means that this lane is forbidden for traffic except for buses. No stop, bus stop. The driver should never park here or stop. This spot is allocated for buses. For here passengers board and get off. No trucks. This mark means that truck drivers should not use this lane because they may cause disturbance and pollution for the area that they are passing through. This sign also means the lane is narrow for trucks. Speed limit. The driver has to commit to the speed limit on this lane. This mark is used if the maximum speed differs on same lanes and requires less. No overtaking island lines. The driver is prohibited to overtake or move on them. They are obstacle islands used instead of paved islands to provide safety. No stop on yellow square. The driver is prohibited from entering the yellow square area. except if his lane is clear, even if there's a green light signal that allows him to move. He is strictly prohibited to stop on this area at all times. No parking, no stop. This line is used at entrances and exits to prevent stopping and parking of vehicles that may obstruct the entry or exit of cars and vehicles. No stop, parking inside carriageway. The driver should not stop or park near the edge of the road when seeing these marks on the edge of the road. It is, however, allowed to stop to the right of the line. No stop. The driver should not stop when seeing the continuous zigzag line before and after pedestrian lines. Mandatory compulsory markings. These markings are placed to commit road users to abide by some matters that must be followed, like keep to the right or keep to the left. Mandatory lane. This mark means all vehicles cannot change their lane when arriving to the area of the continuous line. Usually, these lines exist at entrances, diversions, and crossroads. Mandatory direction. This mark means that all vehicles cannot change their lane or move from lane to another because there's a separation for the lane by continuous lines. Keep moving away from islands. This mark means that vehicles have to abide because they are like paved islands. Bicycle and pedestrian lane. This mark means the road is only for pedestrians and cyclists. Bus lane. This mark means that bus drivers can use this road. Bicycle lane. This means drivers cannot drive on this road, as it is dedicated to cyclists and their bicycles. Mandatory parallel parking. This mark means vehicle drivers who want to park here have to park their vehicles in a parallel way. Mandatory perpendicular parking. This mark means vehicle drivers who want to park here have to park their vehicles in a perpendicular way. Mandatory angle parking. This mark means vehicle drivers who want to park here have to park their vehicles in an angled way. Warning markings. These marks are placed to warn drivers from the risks that exist on the road, at traffic crossroads and the entrances of main roads. Warning line. Dashed warning lines are used to warn drivers of a risk or intersection. Roundabout or intersection ahead. These marks are used before arriving to an intersection, especially a roundabout, where they warn drivers and alert them to reduce the speed and select the suitable lanes to enter the roundabout. Speed reduction lines. These lines are used to warn drivers of risks that require reducing speed. Speed reduction lines are usually jutting out of the road surface like light bumps. Directional informatory markings. These marks are used to guide a driver and provide him with information that may benefit him during his trip. Lanes determination. This mark is used to guide the driver to determine his lane while driving on the road. Road edge determination. This mark is used to guide the driver to know the edge of the road. The line is either in white or yellow. Handicaps parking. This mark is used to guide and help road users to find handicaps parking.